Hey everybody, fascinating chat today with a company I've known and used for a long time at GoTo. We're going to talk the future of work and IT and more. Rich, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thrilled to be here.
Well, thanks for joining us. Like I said, GoTo.com, a really beloved brand for many of us out here. And let's start with the big picture. You're leading the company at a pretty interesting time. How do you describe what GoTo is all about these days, and maybe talk about your leadership at the moment?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So we're one of the leading global SaaS technology companies. We provide solutions that help companies in with remote work. If you think about the world we're in today, where most companies are some version of hybrid, everything we do serves that use case. So we range from business communications, cloud telephony, collaboration tools, to IT management, endpoint management, remote monitoring, and then ultimately we also are involved in IT support. So a product called Rescue, which is one that's well known in the industry, helps remote IT service computers from anywhere. So yeah, it's we're about 1 billion in revenue or so, 800,000 customers, 3,000 employees spread throughout the world. So 60% of our employee base is actually outside the US.
Yeah, fascinating opportunity ahead of you. But let's start looking back on your journey a little bit. You've been at GoTo a few years at this point. Maybe talk about that journey, a little bit about your career and how you see yourself leading GoTo these days.
Yeah, sure. So I'll start with how I got here. So GoTo was formerly known as LogMeIn. We're a public
Hmm.
company. Almost 5 years ago now, the Francisco partners and Elliott took the company private, and as part of that, asked me to come in. Originally as CFO, I had spent a long career with Procter, with P&G, ADP, D&B, BCG, so a bunch of acronyms. This is my first non-acronym company. I was very excited to do it. The and the real premise of why I came in is I had just taken Dun and Bradstreet private after that was a 175-year-old company. We went dealing in the data and uh, data services, essentially credit, sales and marketing, those kinds of things. Took it private, and then I went over to BCG, assuming that I was done doing an operating role and I was going to just do consulting and coaching and those kinds of things. But I got the old proverbial offer you couldn't refuse. Got a call, and quite frankly, this was right at the beginning of the pandemic, and this is at that time is when LogMeIn at the time was going private, and it was just too incredible an opportunity to pass up. Uh, if you think about where the world was headed in the midst of the pandemic and where it is today, everything that GoTo or LogMeIn does is geared towards helping companies to not only survive in that environment, to thrive in that environment. And we've leaned into it tremendously here. We've moved very much to a full hybrid model. So we have folks that come in, but we also have everyone has the opportunity to work remotely, and it's worked extremely well for us. I'll tell you, I was one of the skeptics on that whole thing. So I went through my career, and I remember many a fight with the with my heads of HR historically, where they wanted to hire from everywhere, and I was old school. I was like, hey, you have to be in. You can't be productive. You miss those opportunities in the hallway. And what I found, almost because we were forced to do it, is starting a new role as CFO in the midst of a pandemic with a workforce that's dispersed around the world, and going from public to private. So lots of change. That seemed like a daunting paper to do in a remote fashion. I actually found, and raising 3 billion in debt along the way, because that's what you do when you raise it. All of that, things that you historically, well, at least I historically wouldn't have thought could be done effectively in a remote way, were easier. It was amazing. You could have meetings, you could have everybody there if you needed them there. People were on time, uh, and uh, and you could attract talent that you otherwise would never have touched. So really incredible. It's worked very well for us, and we've leaned further into it over the last 4 years. I've been here 4.5 years now, and I took over as CEO about a year ago.
Brilliant. Well, let's talk about standing out in a busy world. You're known the last few years for your yellow branding, which I love, and we have enough red and green
Yes.
companies out there. But branding aside, there's no shortage of collaboration and communication tools, platforms. How do you see yourself setting GoTo apart as a trusted partner, not just another vendor? And how do you differentiate yourself in this really crowded, busy, noisy landscape these days?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, and it is the essential question, right? So I would say I'll say there's really five things that ultimately make a big difference for us. And if you think about it, we serve a full suite of use cases, again, towards hybrid work. So end to end, companies can come to us and have many of the needs that they would have to be in a hybrid world at their service. That said, there are also best of breeds that we have to compete with that may not offer all of those, but offer a piece. So what do we do to set ourselves aside? And I'd say there's a few things. We're geared more towards SMB, right, and multi-location organizations. So we can scale to enterprise, but our expertise is in the very vast SMB space. That allows us to do a few things better than many others. First is our tools are really easy to use. So small companies need full solutions, right? That they can't be experts on everything. So they need something that can work in many use cases, but can also be easy to implement, easy to use, easy to manage. That's what we pride ourselves on. Everything we do is from the design principle is usability by the customer in a seamless, easy way, because they're not going to be experts in every single thing that we're looking to do for them. So that's the first thing. I'd say the second thing is, while we have a great feature set, we're affordable. So we like to say that we have enterprise grade features without the enterprise grade price. And that's we really live that, because again, small businesses need great solutions. They need them to be easy. They need to be able to afford them because they've got many other things going on in their business. So the pricing model really is important to us. Once you get beyond that, security in this world, especially in a remote technology world, is paramount. So a major design principle of everything we do is to make it the most secure it can possibly be. So we do things like zero trust architecture at the core, many of the things that we develop. So all of that stuff really does make a difference in today's world. And then the last two things are customer support. So we pride ourselves on our award-winning customer support. We track this. We have market-leading NPS scores, market-leading CSAT scores. So those things are at the end of the day, the customer speaks, right? So you're either going to live or die by what the customer says, and we make sure that we do everything we can for customers, and they respond. They like what we do, and we're going to keep doing that. And then the last thing is we're reliable. 99.99% uptime. It's hard to get much better. Again, secure, uptime, always there, backed by 20 years of experience in the business. So we're not a fly-by-night shop. So that's what I would say we use as differentiators in the market. It resonates. Customers like what they see, and it's been a great journey.
Yeah, sounds like it. Great insights. And when it comes to navigating the new normal, there doesn't seem to be one normal or one standard. Everyone seems uniquely different when it comes to hybrid work. I love your approach, but what are your customers telling you about their workplace styles? Have they settled on a new regime when it comes? Some are pushing for total back to the office. Others are willing to offer more flexibility. But what are your customers and partners telling you?
Yeah, and when it runs the full gamut, right? So most of the customers we deal with have some version of remote of their employee base, but even if they don't, they can use our tool. So if you think about our remote support tool, many technology companies will use it as the way they service their customers. So I was actually literally just on the other day with from my home use. So I had an issue with my home computer with one of my services, not ours, and I called the company that provides that software and told them I had some, something wasn't working right, and they said, "All right, let me go into your computer, let me take control of it and fix it." And they said, "We're going to use the LogMeIn rescue tool." And of course, I didn't tell them who I was, but it was a good, almost secret shopper version of it. And I got to see our tools in action. And yes, it was a great experience. They fixed what they needed to do. And I was a happy customer. But at the end of the day, even that company, whether or not and there was an enterprise company that did that, whether they are remote or not, they can use those products to service their customers. For the rest, where most of them are in some degree still hybrid, we have the tools that they need. And we work with customers to make sure that we're selling them the right things and we're implementing the right tools to help them get the most out of their business.
Oh, that's exciting. Well said. When it comes to AI, we're in peak AI hype cycle, which is exciting, I guess, a little overwhelming. But when it comes to customer service, customer support, customer experience, there's a lot of opportunity there. How do you see AI shaking up things, both on the work front as well as how your products might leverage AI in the future?
Yeah, as you can imagine, as with most companies, AI is the issue. It is the focus, and it will make a difference in all industries. I ultimately truly believe that, and certainly in what we do. So we've leaned hard into I would say certainly over the last 2 years. We've moved well over a third of our R&D team is now dedicated fully to AI development.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been and that's been a change. You've had to hire the right people, you've had to train the right people, but it's that critical to what we do. And the way we view it, and there are different philosophies on this, right? We view that what we need to bring to the marketplace is what we call practical AI. So it's not about shiny toys that look good. It's not about bells and whistles. It's about things that actually make companies to do a better job. So, for instance, if I think about our call center products, helping the representatives to come up with solutions in a faster way, because the AI engine will actually diagnose the problem and say, okay, Y and Z, those kinds of things. There's a real immediate payback on that. Or taking work out of the system, so summarizing calls in an automated way without the rep having to sit down and do those things. So if you think about historically, you had lots of rep times dedicated to doing tasks that really are much better done by AI. And if you do that, your reps become more productive. And actually, if you wanted to, as a customer, you could hire fewer reps, so it can save you money as well. So there's lots of goodness into what we bring to the market. And we do try to stay away from the stuff that just looks good but doesn't have a purpose. And that's a discipline, right? Because it's fun to create things, but we try to create things that are truly practical.
Fantastic. And how do you see your go-to-market shaping up next year? Everyone can go to goto.com and obviously sign up for various services, but are you looking at new ways to go to market and embedding your product in different ecosystems? How do you see that playing out over the next year?
Absolutely. And it is interesting. So we look at our distribution, through let's say a multi-level view, right? So yes, you have your normal sales reps, you have your e-com, but you also have great opportunities with MSPs, so managed service providers, and with global service integrators who use our tools to service the customers that they do business with. That integration has been a big part. If I think about, I said about a third of our work is in R&D is on AI. There's another big part of it on integrations, because the more we can integrate into great tools that are already out there that are being used to service customers, the more ubiquitous we can be, because we can't touch everyone ourselves. So that's a big part of things, and AI helps us to do that. It also helps us, if I think about it, throughout our organization. So we've been talking around about what we do from a customer standpoint. We're using AI internally across most functions to drive better productivity. So if I think about our own customer service team, we now use AI reps to do a lot of the front end work. So we're
Wow.
drinking our own champagne. If worked very, very well for us. We're still early stages. The first year we've really been doing that. But even within things where you might traditionally think there's not as big a use case, administrative functions like finance, HR, we have an AI assistant that can answer a lot of the questions and do a lot of the work. If you have a question for HR, or if you have something that you need to get done administratively, we have an AI agent that we created that does a lot of the work. And sometimes, yes, ultimately you'll have to, engage a person at some point in the process, but you can take a tremendous amount of the work out of the system and get things done faster. So our real belief is that AI can be infused in every area of the business. Yes, we can help customers, but we can also do work better throughout our own organization to be more productive.
Amazing. Well, it's not the go-to. I remember a few short years ago.
Yeah, we've
You're certainly
and
certainly reinventing things.
and the
Uh,
reality is you have to, right? In
right.
this world, you have to do it. But we do pride ourselves on I may not say the bleeding edge of things, but we're certainly proactively driving in all domains to win the game, because there's some great prizes out there for being a successful company in a world where you can really help customers.
Oh, brilliant. Well, let's talk about the road ahead as we're almost at 2025. I can't believe it,
Yes.
but a lot of big industry events. CES is a hot one where, of course, tech support, customer support for all those amazing gadgets will be key. Then you've got, shows like NRF and the retail e-commerce side and Enterprise Connect, HIMSS for healthcare IT. How do you see the market evolving? And what are you looking forward to in terms of go-to-market or events or industry verticals that are really ramping up next year?
Yeah. So the events are a big part of things. A big part, and it's funny, I didn't even talk as much about this when we talked about distribution a moment ago, but the partner ecosystem is absolutely very, very important for us. So,
Mm,
yes, we will go through MSPs and through GSIs, but we also work with partners who will actually sell on our behalf. So many of those are people that we spend time with on some of these events. It is really critical from a distribution standpoint to be in as many places as you can to tell the story of what your company does. And we try to use every tool that we can to do that. As I look, on the landscape, there's still going to be a lot of change, right? The world is going to continue to evolve. We are going to continue to need to invest to be part of that, which is why the AI push is so big, which is why the expanding into different distribution channels is so big. And the more we can equip our internal teams to take work out of the system for them, the more they can develop and the more they can develop their own careers. So you have people who come here and want to be here and build careers here, and they make the biggest difference. So there's that's what I'm focused on this year. It's the health of what we bring to the market, the health of the company in terms of how we recruit, who we bring in, and how we make sure people want to be with us. Because if you do that right, you're built to last.
and indeed, and you're building really exciting stuff. Even I see a lot of your capabilities and user experiences, user interfaces have been reinvented and refreshed and updated. It's really exciting. I can't wait to sign up. On a
No,
personal note, for my little business, but I will keep an eye out for all the news coming up in 2025. Thanks for joining and sharing a little bit of insight into what's going on.
no, that's great. It was wonderful to be here, and I'm glad you're a happy customer. It's nothing delights me more.
All right. Thanks so much, Rich. And thanks everyone for listening, watching, and sharing. And take care.